we're going to talk about who and what you want in your life. This actually was something that one of our listeners wanted me to talk about. So, who and what you want in your life. I feel like we are the creator of our reality. So we are the creators of our reality. I do believe that. I'll say that. You'll hear me say that over and over again. If you can take full responsibility for the things that are happening in your life, that means that you can be the person that gets to be the solution person. You get to create what you want. If you feel like you don't have power and things are happening on the outside of you, well, then guess what? You don't have the power to have things happen on the inside. And who and what you want in your life are a decision. It comes down to a decision. If there's people in your life right now that you aren't serving you or not bringing you to a place where you have pure enjoyment for having them there, I would ask yourself, and why are they there? What is really keeping them in your life? This year, 2022, I have once again gone through a shift of the type of clients that I want to work with, the type of friendships that I want in my life, uh, the type of family I want in my life. They say you can pick your friends, you can't pick your family, right? But I think when you raise your standards of what you'll tolerate in your life and what you will allow, you change your frequency about what you're going to admit. So this year was the breaking of toxic patterns for me. Like 2002 is going to go down as the year that I finally broke that cycle and I really healed through my past traumas and PTSD and hypervigilance, everything that was around toxic relationships. And I remember going to seek out practitioners and they would say, Shamina, you're so amazing. Like, why are you putting up with this? Or like, why are you allowing this client in your life? Why are you allowing this man? You don't need any more mentors. You're like so amazing. You are the mentor. I remember working with a wizard and he's like, yeah, we're done. You surpassed me. And this guy was a straight up wizard and he's freaking phenomenal. And, when you're in a cycle, sometimes you allow people that don't serve you, like that are, I guess what I'm saying is that they're at half mass in your life. They're not all the way supporting you. They're not there to see you win all the way. They're there maybe when you're kind of winning or when you're down. There's people in your life that are going to be I don't like this word so much, but like energy vampires, they call them, or people that are just going to freeload off of your emotions. And it's your responsibility. And it's my responsibility to be like, okay, why am I in this situation again? So it's somebody that you don't feel like you want anymore. And I'm telling you, when I had to end my marriage, man, that was one of the hardest things I ever had to do in my life because, not everything was bad. Like, I can't say that, you know, my ex-husband is a good man in a lot of ways. It's just, I lost myself in that marriage and I was not, um, who I am today. And I don't know if I stayed there, I would become her. So it was a really hard decision choosing myself out of that situation. I just knew that it wasn't a situation where I was growing anymore. And I was only surviving and I was sustaining, and it wasn't a place of growth. And my soul was calling me to grow because there was something bigger for me to do. And looking back at the last 10 years of what's transpired since the first time that I, separated from him, um, it was a really hard decision to have that relationship end. And some of them are really hard and some of them are quite easy. And you might still miss that person when you still let them go. Doesn't mean you stop loving them. There's some friendships that have left my life and I still have lots of emotions for these people. I, sometimes want to go pick up the phone and call them, especially if I've seen something. And then I remember, no. Like, we're that person wasn't serving you anymore. I don't know if it's a Gemini thing or the way I'm wired, but sometimes I just forget things that have happened. And I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to just pick up. And then I'm like, no, I'll get this gut feeling in me like that they weren't good for you. I notice that when I'm elevating and I'm healing through something and I'm becoming a greater version of myself, what happens is there's going to be people that grow with me and there's going to be people that grow away from me. And it's like the people that grow with me is easy. because they're coming with me. But the people that grow away from me, that's the hardest thing, because you want everybody to come with you. I remember the first time I really witnessed this on a really grand scale was in one of my masterminds, a period of change and growth. I saw myself just moving at lightning speed. I was moving faster. I was taking action, and the women that were there kind of from the beginning with me, only a few of them came with me, and the rest were just like dropping off like as flies. And it was really hard for me because, I wanted everybody to come. I wanted everybody to have this success. I wanted everybody, but not everybody was able to, or was wired the way I was, or was like me. So I realized I had to change my messaging. I had to change who I was speaking to. I couldn't call people in that at that level where I was before, because they wouldn't move as fast as I did. And then for a period of time, I called in some really, really, really powerful women, and a few came in that I thought were powerful and that weren't as powerful. And so they weren't ready for this change. And you'll see, as soon as you like rock it up, there's people that will jump and go with you, because they're like, she's not leaving me behind. I have a client that's been in all my programs, and she's like, you're not going anywhere, I'm going with you. But there's some that will get triggered as how fast you're going, and then they'll feel like, well, she's leaving me behind. And then a lot of abandonment will come up, or a lot of the sister wounds will come up, and they'll feel like betrayed because somebody is outgrowing them. And it'll turn around and they'll think like, well, I'm outgrowing you. But really, it's like this process is really hard. And, certain friendships, sometimes, I've got a new philosophy of friendships, because usually before it would be like, well, I love having people in my life that are easy and are fun, and that, have my back, and that I really enjoy. But I found when I've gotten to this level of where I'm at right now, I need super powerful women that are at my level or even above me, because it is incredibly hard to be at this place, even just going out for dinner, and knowing that someone's still struggling to pay a bill, and that you could buy the bill all the time, but you shouldn't be always the one that's paying the bill when you have a friendship like that. There should be a give and take, right? And I realized, that's giving you a small example, but just the goals, like the mindset, the conversations, they won't be at the level that you need. And when you're in this growth game, you're moving so quickly. Sometimes those high school friends or friends you've had for 10 or 15 years or 20 years, they'll still be great to meet up with for like, the holidays or whatnot, to have a chit chat, but they may not be people that's in your everyday life. Maybe they'll be there and they can cheer you on, but they're not going to be the people that are going to be like, behind you going, go, like, come on, or inspiring you because she's moving and you want to move with her. I feel like when you're at this level, you need people in your life. They're going to inspire you to change. They're going to, they're going to, I don't want to say trigger, but they're going to they're going to make you step it up, because of who they are and what they're doing. It's not that you're in competition with them, but you're going to be like, okay, let's all go. And you want someone that's going to be able to cheer you on without like that jealousy of what happens when, certain women are expanding. And, I don't ever want anybody to feel like that. That's why I love my mastermind, because every woman in there, I'm cheering her on. Like, her success is my success. Like, I want her to do better than me. I want her to supersede whatever she's coming in to do, because that means what I'm doing works. When I see a woman going beyond, 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 I'm like, okay, this is great. And it's sometimes, you can't be triggered as a mentor when, I've seen it happen where people are like, whoa, like she's really doing it. And then my mentor would go and step it up too. I remember this happened with a guy once, and he was like, wow, she's just killing the game. Like, and he went and did it too. So you just don't know who you'll motivate, by being yourself and attracting that. I feel like there has to be a conscious decision about who you want in your life. I don't want to date men that aren't successful, that aren't smart, that aren't, making his own cash. Like, he's got his own thing going on. A couple of my guy friends are like, look, not everybody's going to be a multimillionaire like you, but maybe he'll be doing great. I'm like, what? Why can't I have dude that's a multimillionaire too. Like, hello, why would I have to sacrifice that? But I'm still staying with the qualities that I want in a man, not necessarily the money, because just because a man's making money doesn't mean he's going to be, the right one for me. There's got to be all the other qualities too. But I think you have to make a conscious decision. You have to describe the type of people that you want. You have to be intentional, and you have to be intentional of who's not allowed in your life. Who are you not going to lay down with? Who are you not going to spend time with? Because as you're spending time with people, you're exchanging energy. Whatever thoughts are in them, whatever their frequency is, whatever they're admitting, that's coming towards you, right? And so it's a conscious decision about what exchange of energy you're having with this person. And certain family members we can't get rid of, and some we can. But who do you want to keep at a minimum and at arm's length? Because you're allowed to. There's no rule that you have to have them all the way in anymore. Because say they're not going to be one of your biggest supporters. So why would you have them around in your life if they're going to be someone that's going to be knocking your success or always saying things to make you feel like shit? Because is that who you really want in your life? Somebody who's making you feel bad? I mean, I had that person in my life for a long time. And, my whole family, we just got rid of that person because they were not our biggest supporters or biggest fans. They would, sometimes you would do something good and be like, oh, that's great. But then a backhanded comment would come around afterwards. And it was like, oh, well, here's my cornflakes. You can just pee right directly in them and just forget the, other stuff. And that's no bueno, right? Yeah, it's an intentional thing. And I feel like if you have people in your life that are causing you grief and havoc, it's your fault, because you haven't set up good boundaries. You have not laid out what you really want. You've allowed people in. Like I said, this is my fault when I was doing this. And the more that you say no to the people that you don't want in your life, all of a sudden the people that you really do desire, because you're like, no to that, start coming in. Or different people come in to fill different parts of your soul and make you feel a certain way. And all of a sudden your frequency goes up, your vibration goes up, your standards go up. And now you're like, oh, remember when I would have allowed that behavior before? Like that would never happen now. Remember when like that type of person would come in? That would never happen now. Remember I used to work with that type of client? That would never happen now. Remember I used to attract that type of mentor? That would never happen now. It's just like everything changes. And when you start to change, ironically, sometimes even the family members that irritate the shit out of you, they start to change too, right? Some women were like, well, how about my husband or my significant other? They're so negative, and how do I get rid? I don't want to get rid of him. I really love him. Okay, you can't change them. So to stop pushing the books up their nose and telling them all the things that you're listening to, or getting them to listen to this episode, or putting it on like 10 while you're cleaning and having them listen. What you can do is start being you and being more in your energy and see if they shift. Because sometimes it takes people feeling you in a different way for their frequency to shift around too. I do believe that's how good energy gets spread. So, yeah, they're gonna have to do their own work too, right? And sometimes when people see you changing, they want to change too, or they want to judge you. But the ones that want to change and come with you, they will. And the ones that don't, well, hasta la vista, baby. Bye bye. See you later. I got no time for that. It's crazy because people take it personally. They take it personally when you start growing. They start thinking, oh, she's too good for this. She's too good for me. And I tell you, as I've gotten to a higher level of success, I realize the importance of really cultivating good friendships and being there. And it requires me picking up the phone. It requires me texting people. It requires me also being that person to invite that person in my life, and not always waiting for someone to invite me, but making plans with them, checking in on them. Just because your friends are strong doesn't mean they don't want to hear from you. That's a whole nother episode. But who you have in your life right now is going to come down to a decision and a choice. And it might not be a permanent decision, but it could be a temporary one. It could be one that you need clarity on. So sometimes if people are wreaking havoc in your life, maybe you need to put them on pause, take a break, go assess, see how you feel, see why you still have them there, see why why you felt better when they weren't, and see how you can maybe navigate them in the future if you don't want to totally move them aside. And maybe cutting people out too quickly might not be the greatest idea, but sometimes that has to happen. And sometimes you've been allowing and lingering relationships in your life too long and making excuses for people's behavior. And you've had people in your life like that because they were filling a need, a traumatic part of yourself, or some part of you that was just needing, that wounded little self of yours was attracting another little playmate to play with. And perhaps that was time to cut the cords on that one. So cutting the cord is one of the greatest spiritual practices that I've really done, and it is pretty powerful. I have quite a few of them in my programs, and it's something that I practice, and especially around full moons and whatnot. Speaking of which, if you aren't in the Conscious Collective membership, it's a year-long membership that I have. It's a really low investment, but we do a lot of meditations a month, training a month. My high ticket's multiple 5 figures, but this is a very low investment. Go check out my website. Go look at the information. It's a Conscious Collective membership. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I talk about things in a different way. People are like, just get the negativity out of your life. But sometimes we are the negativity, because we're allowing it, or we're having people around because they're serving a purpose for us. So we got to check in why that person was there in the first place. I'm always going to lead you down accountability road. It's always going to be like, well, why'd you allow that? And looking back, even the type of clients, why did I let that client through? Even when they had the red flag, why did I let that guy through? Even though like it was red flag central, me, right? It's me. It's back to me. And why did I let that, parent talk to me that way, that neighbor or that person, that friend? Why didn't I speak up? Back to me, and we get stronger. The more that we use our voice, we realize where we are in our power. And sometimes, it is our fault, and we have to take accountability for that. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. If you know that somebody would love to hear this, and maybe you do need to put this on 10 and play it somewhere, and so somebody else can listen to it and you can just seep into their subconscious and be like, maybe they'll shift. I don't know, but or maybe you're just going to send it to a friend and be like, hey girl, listen to this. Or guy, if you're listening, go download my wealth meditation. It's free. I can start bringing in some cash for you. And I've got a quiz out there that you could probably take, and it'll really help you set up if you want to work with me further. I'm Shamina Taylor, and thank you for spending this time with me. And if you enjoyed this, leave me a review and send me some feedback. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.